The first thing when it comes to emotional intelligence is self-awareness. And one of the things that's helped me when I was in pharmaceutical sales, I was #1 in the region, #2 in the nation, and just did a phenomenal job, was understanding personality. And it has helped me even personally and in every aspect of my life where I am dealing with people. So I asked everyone to complete this worksheet. If you haven't, that's okay, do it after, it'll still be effective and you'll remember. So there are specific ways that people naturally sense, conceptualize, and respond to situations. And it's led to what's called the DISC profile. Now, this is a very abbreviated form. I have a comprehensive document and program that I use with my coaching clients that is much more complex. It looks at how you show up both publicly and privately. This one here is focused on probably your work situation and how you show up publicly. Now, for those of you who completed it, if your highest score is in directing, that's the first column, your highest score between directing, influencing, steady, and cautious. How many of you, maybe you can put it in the chat, I can't see all of you. How many of you, your highest score is directing? If you were able to do that. If your highest score is directing, you are considered very goal-oriented. You can come across as very blunt. You're very fast-paced. You want to get to the bottom line. And so whenever I would call on physicians as a pharmaceutical rep for Johnson & Johnson, if I had a physician who was a D, directing, I would not waste time with chit chat or small talk. They're very task oriented. They want to get things done right and they want to get it done now. So I would get to the bottom line, ask them how they're doing, and then share my information with them. Again, they are very goal oriented and they are experts in their field. So the best way to get along with someone who is a high D is to ask them questions, ask them for advice, and they will love to share that with you because, again, they see themselves as experts. If you are a high I stands for influencing. Now, these are people-oriented, not necessarily task-oriented, but people-oriented. They're focused on relationships. When you meet these individuals, you want to ask them about their families. You want to have small talk with them. They're very expressive and they don't want to lose influence. They seek approval from others. Again, they are very talkative, so they like to talk and share. If you are a steady, an S, a high steady, in my humble opinion, these are the sweethearts of the world. They avoid conflict. They want to collaborate. They make decisions based on what people who are very important to them, what they want to do. So you can't push them into making a decision. They are very meek, very meek. And if you push them in a corner and ask them to do something, they may say yes, just to avoid the conflict, but their hearts will not be with you. And if you compare the steady to the influencing person, the influencer will make decisions very quickly. But the influencer, the high I, the influencer, they will make their decisions based on whether or not they like you. If they don't like you, they're not with you. And if you compare that with a high D, a D will make decisions very quickly. And it's not based on whether or not they like you or what their loved ones think. It's based on what they want to do. Now, the last category are the cautious, the high C's. These are the thinkers. They make decisions very slowly, and it's based on whether or not the information that they are getting from you is correct. But they want details. They don't want just the bottom line like IDs. They want all the details. How did you get to that decision? So whenever I called on a physician who was a high C, cautious, I had to make sure I had my I's dotted, my T's crossed, and I had thorough information, documentation, data from studies in order to persuade that type of individual to buy my product. So if you are in sales, this kind of program is going to be very beneficial for you. If you are dealing with people in any kind of way, it'll help you to communicate with them more efficiently and more effectively. The cautious people, they are perfectionists. They hate to be criticized. So you want to make sure that when you are communicating with them, that you know that they know what they're talking about as well. So keep in mind, the directing and the cautious, they're task-oriented. The influencing and the steady, they are people-oriented. The directing people are very fast-paced. Get to the bottom line, don't waste my time or money. With cautious, they want all the details and want to understand how did you get to your answer. With the influencing, again, you want to build rapport, build a relationship, ask them questions and let them talk. How are you doing today? And let them share their hearts. The steady people, they come across as being easily intimidated, but don't mistake their meekness for weakness, because if you hurt them in some way, they might not come directly for you like a D would, but they will come back for you indirectly. They are indirect because they avoid confrontation. So that is just a really quick snapshot of this particular DISC profile. Now, depending on what your range is, between 10 and 40, it'll show you the level of intensity that you show up in these particular styles. So again, this has been very helpful for me to help me to know who I'm dealing with when I am at work, or if I'm out in the marketplace, or in my personal relationships. It's really been a godsend. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want to.
I missed the difference between steady and cautious.
Okay, so the steady personality, they are people oriented, but they make their decisions slowly because they're collaborators. So before they make a decision, they're going to ask people in their life who are important to them what their thoughts are, what their opinions are before they make a decision.
Okay.
They come across as meek, maybe easily intimidated, but it's just that they want to avoid conflict.
Right. Okay. And cautious sounds similar though.
Now, cautious, they're perfectionists. They're very analytical. Now, they're very task oriented. They're not basing their decision on collaboration or if they like you. They're basing the information on if it is correct, because their greatest fear is making a mistake.
Okay.
These individuals are very critical of others as well and of themselves because they don't want to make a mistake. Okay, so let me see here. I'm going to share my presentation. All right.
I tried to fill it out while you were talking. I hope some others did too. I ended up,
So did anyone get to fill out the profile?
I did. I ended up with directing as a 36. I think
Oh, that's high, Mark. That's very high.
that's me, I think.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
next up was influencing, then, and steady and cautious came out as a tie, which is kind of interesting.
Very good. Well, I can definitely see the I. I can see the I in you as well. Very people oriented. How about anybody else? Did
I
you get
am.
your score? And you can put it in the chat if you'd like.
This is interesting in building up the personas of who you're talking to.
How does this differ from some other scientific methods like the bank method, and there's another one that's out there? Are there any similarities or?
There are similarities. Again, this is based on four styles: directing, influencing, steady, and cautious. Other personality profiles that I've seen, they may use, introverted, extroverted, and other kinds of categories. I use this one because it's simplified and it has proven true in many of my situations and interactions with others.
Very cool.
So before I go on, are there any other questions or comments about this?
Elisa,
Yes, Elisa?
go ahead and unmute.
I just did. I got the same score for directing and influencing. What does that mean?
It just means that you're balanced and you show up in those two. What were your scores, if you don't mind sharing?
32 and 32.
Wow, that's very high. So you're pretty even on those as well.
Thank you.
What's nice, you're welcome. And what's nice about knowing who you are, it'll be easy for you to identify who others are. You don't have to try to memorize this, but being self-aware and knowing who you are will help you to easily identify others. And notice that you don't get a 0 in any of these personality categories. We have a combination of all of these styles. We're a composite, but there's 2 or maybe 3 that we are very strong in. It just depends.
Very, very interesting. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other thoughts, comments, questions?
Is there a place to go to evaluate those numbers? I mean, is there a site or a place to say, okay, I got a 36 and then maybe I got a 24 and something else? Is there a way to?
Yes.
So
you go to Roundtree Consulting.
Well, and that is true. Thank you, Mark. I can definitely work with you one-on-one. That's part of my coaching practice. And also on the worksheet, if you go to the bottom, you can actually graph your totals and it'll show you the intensity or the level. Let me share my screen again. And it'll show you the level, the energy level with which you show up. It's right here at the bottom here. You see this here? You can graph your totals. Just put DISC in these small boxes. And if the first box, let's say your score was 20, you put a dot here. If it's 34 for I, if it's 28 for S, and maybe 18 for C, once you graph your totals, you'll be able to see the intensity or the level of energy with which you show up in that particular personality style. But again, I have a much more comprehensive version of the DISC profile that is extremely interesting. I know I did it for a couple of clients and they were just amazed. And this is through the John Maxwell organization that I am affiliated with. And I would be happy to help you and to go in deeper and to see what makes you click and why you show up the way that you do.
Doc, you want to talk about natural versus adapted style? Sorry, a truck drove right by, of course. Can talk about natural versus adapted style.
So what do you mean as far as adaptive versus not
So
adaptive?
like, I don't know anywhere near as much about disc as you, but I know a fair amount. I've done it a lot for sales training. You know, when you take
Yes.
the test, you know, there's the real you, and then there's over time
yeah.
kind of the you at work, which I believe is
Exactly.
adaptive.
So the disc profile, the other version that's more comprehensive, will go into all of those complexities. This one is for a quick snapshot to show how you show up normally publicly. But if you want to, or in a specific identified situation. So for example, when I did my comprehensive version, the way that I show up publicly was surprisingly different than the way that I am private, or I should say publicly and private were totally different. I was surprised at that. I'm much more laid back and reserved privately than I am in the public. But I didn't know that until I did the more comprehensive version. So it is worth doing, and there could be different factors that play along that cause you to show up differently. And some people show up the same. It just depends on what's going on in your personal life. And it can also change. Depending on major life events, it can also change. I know after I had my son, Matthew, man, I used to be a strict, strong D and a strong I. But after I had my son, that D went down significantly because he became my focus. So that's just an example of why some of these dynamics do change. So it's good, even if you've done others, or you've done this one before, it's good to revisit it because we all change based on our circumstances.
Very interesting. I'm willing to bet that Lorraine and I are stronger in opposites. You think? I'm a strong D and I, and I think you'll end up be stronger on the last two.
I don't know. I'm trying to listen and write and add. So I'm not there yet. I'll let you know.
I know. I'm just saying that because
Just
opposites
read his case,
attract.
literally.
Well, it's not surprising, but a lot of times opposites do attract to each other. You balance each other out, but of course, in some of those relationships, it can be the very things that get on each other's nerves, those opposites. So there's sometimes
pandemic.
tug of war. So yeah, but we normally do attract to people that are opposites. Again, it depends on the situation.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
Alisa.
I was just noticing that Chad was talking about the Myers-Briggs, which is very interesting as well. I am exactly the same personality type as him, which we are the second rarest. So Chad, we need to get together and chat.
This sounds like a dating site.
No, not at all. Not at all. But seriously, this is so interesting because what's different about what you're talking about and the Myers-Briggs, I think getting down to more basics that are easily understood.
That's why I like it, Alisa.
Myers-Briggs, I think, is more philosophical. So
exactly. This is so much more practical. My pleasure.
Yes, thank you very much. This is amazing. Thank you.
My pleasure. And it's good to do this with your significant other, just to see how things are going, or even your children, because your children will surprise you. Okay. Yeah. And it'll help you to understand who they are and why they act the way they do. I do this for, I've done it for my child, high school students, college students. It really is amazing for them to understand who they are as well. So if there aren't any other questions, if there are, Nancy, did you have a question?
I just wanted, what you said in the beginning is huge, right? So if we all understand our personalities and the personality types, I had this training very early on in my sales career, and I would have been probably a failure if I'd never taken that. And the instructor said, okay, group B, you are presenting to someone who is a high I.
Yes.
And then we got into the mock meeting and it was a C. Right. And so this could happen in real life. You could go into a meeting, you've talked to the person on the phone and you think they're an I, but they're a C. or they're not there, but then the boss is, and he's a D. So this is so useful. I hope everybody gets a lot out of it. It's great.
Thank you, Nancy. Chad, did you have a question?
So we tested our daughter a while back, and I thought that this was considered a testing error, but maybe you can explain it. She's not above the line. She's right at the line for all 4 letters, and they're all dead even.
Yeah,
Isn't that just a
25,
bad
25.
test?
Yeah, so that means that she is just, you know, the good thing about someone who's even on all of the personality styles is that it'll be difficult for someone to size them up.
Yeah.
The other thing is that she can be a chameleon and she can match whoever she's dealing with much easier. And that's the goal. When you're talking to a high D, you want to match that personality. Give them the bottom line, the facts, don't waste their time or money. That's what I did with my high Ds. When I was dealing with a high I took time, small talk to get to know them. I asked them questions. I allowed them to talk because they love to talk. When I was with an S, I took my time with them. I had to build trust because trust is their number one value. And I forgot to say this before. For a D, their number one value is respect. If you disrespect a high D, you have lost them. A high I, their strongest value is relationships. So if you want to get along with a high I, someone who's people-oriented, build rapport, get to know them, allow them to get to know you, build genuine relationships with them. And that's all of them, to be honest. And if you're dealing with a high S, again, build trust, and a high C, to get on their good side, you have to know what you're talking about. You will lose credibility with them if you don't have all of the details and the facts when they ask a question. They value the details, the systems, the processes. You'll hear them talk about that. You'll hear the D talking about, what time is it? I gotta go. I don't have time. Get to the bottom line. You'll hear the D say that. And you'll hear the I talking about their family, their friends, their relationships, people, okay? So hopefully-
Very interesting. You know, I wish I had, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if we were in a face-to-face workshop, I would demonstrate each personality style and show you how to actually interact with them. But I do have this PowerPoint. I don't know if we still have time to go through it real quick.
Please.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. And all of this is in relationship to emotional intelligence. Knowing who you are first is key. Mark, did you want to say something while I bring up this?
I was just going to say, you know, this is the second time that I've heard this, and it's really good. In fact, the first one, they use a little bit different names, like the directing was a driver.
Yes.
And you know, so they had different names, but it's the same thing. And what I got to remember is when I'm standing there talking to somebody that I'm just meeting, is I got to remember to start categorizing them while I'm, you know, and I don't do that. And I need to get into that habit.
Yes, and you'll do it naturally. The more you are aware of who you are, Mark, and you're even with Lorraine and your family, the easier it will be to identify others' personality style. Yeah, and I've been doing this for so long, I can tell almost instantly what personality that person is leading with in the public eye.
Yeah, and I need to train myself to start thinking that way when I'm there with the person. Okay, I don't want to hold you up. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Thank you for the questions, everyone. I really appreciate it. Okay, and I see are there something in the chat? Anything in the chat, Lorraine, that I need to address?
Catherine Wolf has to drop out because some people are going to have to drop out because they have other meetings and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'm going to make this quick because I know time is of the essence. Okay, so this is my information. Again, this is on emotional intelligence. So today's workshop number 1 was to do the DISC assessment, which we've done. The next objective is to help us understand the benefits of emotional intelligence. And the last objective is to relate emotional intelligence to our business and in the workplace, and really in our personal lives as well. So these are very short modules that I'll go through very quick. So what is emotional intelligence? It's the part of you that affects every aspect of our life. And understanding the root causes of our emotions and how we can use them will help us to effectively identify who we are and how to interact with others, which is key. It starts with self-management, being consistent, knowing who you are, being accountable to yourself and your loved ones, and make a plan for how you will manage yourself from an emotional standpoint. Think about those times when you've been in situations, I still do, and it's really tough for you and someone's pushing your buttons. You need to make a plan for how you're going to manage that relationship or situation before it happens. Educate yourself. You showing up here, doing this assessment is a part of that. And staying physically fit. I do yoga, I walk, I exercise. I do these things to keep myself emotionally healthy. Being self-aware is knowing what your abilities are, your self-perception. What are your skills? What are you strong at? What knowledge do you bring to the table? What value and what responsibilities do you hold in your life that distinguishes you? And confidence is so important in any relationship. It's from the inside out, not the outside in. If you're comparing yourself with others, that will lead to arrogance. But if you look within and know who you are and what you bring to the table and love who you are, that builds your confidence inside. Self-regulation, we can be pressured. It could be good, bad, or may have no pressure, but good pressure is when there is aggression, but there's no criticism. It's not a toxic relationship. Bad pressure is when there's aggression, but there's this critical behavior. People are on top of you and it makes you feel bad about yourself. And of course, no pressure is when, you're pretty much laid back and you're probably not focused on a goal per se. But I know for me, good pressure is when I set my own goals and I know what I want to do and I put that pressure on myself. And bad pressure, if someone is riding me at work or not treating me with respect and, not talking to me and professionally, that will lead to bad pressure. So what's self-motivation? It's working toward a cause. I heard this morning, I was listening to a speaker this morning, and he was talking about focusing on a cause. What cause? Why are you here? What is your purpose? What value are you bringing to the world? Don't compare yourself to others. It leads to low self-esteem, or just the opposite, you think you're better than others, and they're both not healthy. Being persistent. Don't live in your past. Forgive yourself. That's something for my personality I have to be careful of. I have to let myself off the hook. We have to forgive ourselves. We're not perfect, and forgive others. No one is. And positive thinking. I could have a workshop just on this. We have to be deliberate and intentional about what we are thinking, because what we think we actually attract into our life. And some of you probably know about The Secret or have heard of other speakers and philosophers talk about positive thinking. The Bible talks about it constantly. So, positive thinking is a real thing. And it wasn't until I was able to be more intentional about my thought life that my life changed miraculously. Being empathetic is another part of emotional intelligence, is being able to share your feelings appropriately, responding effectively, and then putting yourself in others' shoes. We're not all alike. We have different experiences. We have things in common, but sometimes how we've gotten to that place is different and unique. So trying to empathize and putting yourself, what if I was him? What if I was her? How would I feel is critical for emotional intelligence. So here are 3 skills in emotional intelligence. Understanding your emotions and their meanings. Uncover productive ways that you can manage it. We talked about exercise. We talked about yoga, listening to good music, being around positive people. And then use your emotions to benefit yourself and others. When you know you're feeling some negative emotions, that's a signal for you to change course. And this is easier said than done because I struggle with it as well. But I know enough now, I'm more self-aware now, that I know when something's not feeling good, I'm not going the right direction. Oh, I like this quote. It says, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him, by Epictetus. How accurately to perceive your emotions. Words are just half the message. You have to listen for the tone, recognize your own emotions, ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? And then focus on your message. That makes effective communication, being mindful and being aware. We're looking at everything. Your emotions facilitate your thinking. How you feel determines how you view the situation. If you think you can, we've heard this, or if you think you can't, you are right. So you can choose to be in a good mood based on what you're focused on. You can manage your emotions by looking consciously at a task, being active in the task, focusing on one thing at a time, and using your positive feelings to get it done. So verbal communication skills. Strong verbal communication skills are important in every facet of life. And without these, you'll find it hard to get your personal point across or to articulate your needs. And there are many factors that contribute to solid communication. Number one, focused listening. Being present, giving people who you are communicating with your full attention is the best gift you can give them. We can all perceive when someone isn't listening to us or when they are distracted. So try not to multitask when you're speaking or talking to someone. Attention is the greatest gift. Ask questions, all right? That goes hand in hand with listening. And make sure the questions pertain to the topic you're talking about. When you ask questions of others, it shows that you're interested in them. Communicating with flexibility and authenticity, if I could say it, authenticity is very important because we want to be around people who are honest, who have a clear message, and who can be forthright with us. Don't sugarcoat your message. So some nonverbal communication skills. Communication, as we know, is much more than the words we say. It's our body language. It's our tone of voice. It's our facial expressions. All of this comprises our nonverbal communication skills. So we need to be aware when we're saying something, and if our body language is contradicting it, the other person will see that and not trust what you're saying. So be conscious of it. Your actions speak louder than words, but it's a valuable skill. And remember, it's a great form of communication. In a workshop setting face-to-face, we would do handshakes, and you can tell a lot about a person just by their handshake. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's the tone, your emotions behind it, your language, and the pitch. It determines what the listener hears. So here are some tools to regulate your emotions. It's the ability to keep your emotions under control. It requires more than a willing heart, trust me. It's understanding a situation through the eyes of someone else. It's strengthening your own self-management and self-awareness skills so that you can regulate them. But you really have to talk to yourself. This is something I have to do on a regular basis. And thank God I have a great support system. I have friends I can talk to and call and say, hey, I'm going through this situation. What do you think I should do? And many times those friends have kept me from doing or saying something that I wish I wouldn't have said or done, right? So here's a quote: the sign of intelligent people is their ability to control their emotions by the application of reason. That's what makes us, different than animals, of course. So seeing the other side, ask others' opinion. Take an honest look at yourself, which we've done today, and get feedback, because it is a valuable tool. Ask your significant other, how do I come across when I speak? How do you feel when I speak?
I
Do you
dare not
trust what
ask
I'm
that.
saying? What's that?
I dare not ask that.
Don't be afraid, Mark. You might be pleasantly surprised.
I know.
So giving in without giving up is called compromise. We need to accept divergent ideas. Not everyone's going to agree with us, but that doesn't mean that you don't keep your own beliefs. It's trying to find the balance between the two. You don't lose your identity for the sake of someone else, but it's really accepting and learning from others, being open to that. So in summary, emotional intelligence, it impacts every area of our life, personally, professionally, in our businesses, in every area. Understand what the underlying meaning is of your emotion and then manage them. But you got to ask yourself that question. Why am I feeling like this? Be aware of your body language, your tone of voice, your facial expressions. All those things matter. The benefits of emotional self-regulation is an effective decision-making and in decision-making, and it helps to improve our relationships. Strengthen your self-awareness and self-management skills by asking others for feedback and fixing what you believe needs to be changed, because only we can change ourselves. We can't change anyone else. We can't change anyone else. So here are some words from the wise that I'd like to leave with you. Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Guy Finley said, never speak out of anger, never act out of fear, never choose from impatience, but wait, and peace will appear. And Brian Tracy said, confidence on the outside begins by living with integrity on the inside. So that ends my presentation. If you would like a 30-minute consultation, please reach out to me. And please know that I have developed a professional development online course that will be available in January. So it will be on my website and available. I would love to meet with you one-on-one. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you for your attention.
When you're ready with that, let me know, and I'll let everybody know through our newsletter and everything.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
It's just a great presentation. I really enjoyed that a lot. I hope everybody else got something out of it, because I just think that was really interesting. We could do that more than once, I think, maybe a couple times a year, right? Just sit down and reevaluate, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Very worthwhile. Appreciate you, Deeawn.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was really
good.
I recorded it, and if you'd like, I can put it up on the Palm Beach Elite Network for you.
That would be awesome.
Whoever you would like to see it. I'm going to stop through. Well, I guess I'll keep Q&A in there, and if anybody has questions or comments, let's do it, and I'll keep the recording going until it's done. And I know some people have to leave, so wave, break in, say goodbye. And well, you didn't have to leave right now,
Come back next week. We got a meeting at 10:45. And then the following Thursday is our last meeting of the year. It's a happy hour. It'll be fun. We always have a good time at happy hour. But I hope everybody prints out their little worksheets. If you didn't get it, go find it. We've posted the link multiple times, and do the worksheet, because you know what? It doesn't hurt to improve your personality and your, just make yourself better. It's the end of the year. What can we do? We got a new year coming. Let's all be better, right?
Right. And I'll work on the bingo cards for happy hour.
Yeah. I forgot, Nancy. Yes,
I know, but I wound up having a doctor's appointment I can't change. So I will do the cards no matter what.
Okay.
And I will jump on the call. So somebody might have to be the caller. I'll coordinate with Mark.
Okay. So somebody's going to point out the glare in my glasses for sure.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was neat when I started looking closer at the bingo, because I put that little presentation together quickly last week or the week before, and then I started looking at the bingo cards. I'm like, oh, I get it. I thought somebody was gonna have to call out B5 or C10 or whatever, but But
We
it's
can do that too. We're
yeah, but
actually
no, the
doing
other
that
one's more
here.
fun. I mean,
Yeah, we're doing WebEx group bingo up to 250 people at the bank this month, every Wednesday. We'll have
wow.
3 time slots. They're giving out $100 Amazon gift cards, and they've emailed you a bingo card, and she calls it out. It's of freebingocards.com. So
Wow.
she emails the cards out and then does the calling, and 4 or 5 people won during the half hour. So really fun.
That's
We're
a
doing
cool
Crazy Stock Exchange. We got a lot of things going on.
That's a cool idea. I wanted to mention one other thing, and I think Barbara Socher would jump in on this one. I'm hitting a burnout point. I've been working my butt off since the pandemic started. And Lorraine will tell you, I've been putting 18 to 20 hours a day in just because I don't sleep that much, and I'm very passionate about my businesses and things going on. And I don't know why, but Thanksgiving was like this trigger for me. I'm like, I need to relax a little bit. And I'm actually really enjoying myself. I'm doing right now this last day or two, I'm doing the minimum that I need to do to make sure everything's functioning and rolling. But I think everybody needs to know it's okay to take a day off. It's okay to go, slow down for a day or two. We're under a lot of additional pressure from the pandemic and everything. And I've been working so hard. I think that's been my little whatever you want to call it, to keep my mind off of politics and the pandemic and everything else. And I guess, the election's over, and I feel like things are settling down as far as people fighting with each other and things like that. So I'm on a little mental vacation this week. I'm actually going to take the rest of the day off and go fly my jet. Um, but but I just wanted to say there's a lot of people that as I talk to them, they don't feel like it's okay to take some time off when you're not productive. And it really is. And I've
Yeah.
been a business owner for about 34 years now. And I've been telling this to my employees all my life too, that, don't just sit at your desk, and if you don't want to be here, if you're not being productive, come see me, tell me you need a mental health day, and go play. And I just wanted to say that I'm trying to take my own advice today, but I thought, Barbara, you might have a couple of thoughts on that.
Thank you so much, Mark. And Deeawn, I really appreciated your presentation. And it's really good to see where you're at. I mean, you can't do anything about anything if you don't know it. If I had a cut on my face and I'm bleeding, I have to be aware of it. What I do in self-discovery is teach you how to make the change. Because I can say to you, stop doing that. Well, how do you stop? Now I'm a recovering workaholic. So I understand how very easy it is to get just addicted to working. You have to be number one on your priority list. Live an unapologetic life. If your container is empty, you have nothing to give. You have nothing to give. What I found in my life was I kept giving and giving and giving. Then I became resentful and a martyr. None of you ever done that, right? Taking care of you have to be number one. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody. So just to remind you all that I give a complimentary introduction and I show you how to make specific changes that Dr. Deeawn was talking about. How to, because you say I procrastinate. Well, how do you stop? Well, stop it. Ha ha. How to. So self-discovery is learning energetically how to release those old behaviors and reprogram yourself. But first part is definitely becoming aware of who you are and how you're showing up. I decided a couple years ago for myself, Mark, that if I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it. So whatever I do, I'm enjoying myself. Whether I'm leading a workshop, whether I'm in traffic, I was in traffic for 2 hours trying to go 30 miles. And I found myself, a part of my head saying, this is insane, you're crazy, you're nuts. And I just entertained myself and I got through it without killing anybody, without road rage. But there's all sorts of stresses. You have to make you and your well-being priority. If you have a husband or children, they're going to benefit from you taking the time off. I'm sure Lorraine is very happy when you go entertain yourself so you're stress-free when you're with her, right?
She is, and I didn't realize,
Absolutely.
and she's not sitting here to hear this, but I've been working like a dog, and
Sure.
that's my little way of dealing with problems, I guess. I
Right.
just dig in.
In the,
And
in the
it's
greatest scheme of things, in the end of it, it's not going to matter.
yeah, You know, and at the end of
Ultimately,
the,
it's not.
at the end, yeah, at the end of the day, if I'm getting to the point where I'm not having fun, and I wasn't having fun the last, I
Yeah.
called my partner James. I said I'm not doing anything. I'm being a slacker for a day or two, and you know, it really is okay. I mean, it's not okay if it persists for a long time, but you know, if you need a day or so, it's okay to take it.
Well,
I bet
just
you James
notice
never slacks
that-
off.
Yeah, just notice the thing, the word slacker has a negative connotation. I mean,
Yeah, I
really.
know. I'm saying it with a big smile, though.
Yeah, and you're taking, but part of us judges ourselves. You know, we're
Yeah.
sitting in there judging and judging and judging. I should, you know, don't shut on yourself. Plenty of
Yeah.
other people are going to shut on you without your wanting them to. Again, I give a complimentary introduction. There's absolutely no obligation, and I'd love to come in and spend some time with you and Lorraine, Mark. Give me a call.
I'd love to do that too, and
Yeah.
we'll definitely find some time in the new year.
Just letting you all know that I do have a workshop next weekend, the 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's a 3-day event, and the first day is communication, exactly what you was talking about. Learning how to be fully present with who you're connecting with, because if you can't hear them, you can't really respond to their needs.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, folks. So, you know, you're allowed to turn on your mics and go ahead and chat. I'm getting ready to eat some lunch in a few minutes, but you know, I'm hanging out. It's a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. I
Very
hope
good
to hear
seeing
from
you.
you.
Thank you so much, Deeawn. That was
My
great.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Elaine, I will
Thanks,
be
Deeawn.
talking to you
Thank
soon.
you, thank you.
Take care.
Okay,
Thank
guys.
you. Yes,
Thanks,
Mark.
everybody.
Please read my personal message to you.
What's that?
I send you a text
I
in the
see. I
chat.
will.
Okay.
I
No
will.
problem.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Take care. Be well, everybody.
All righty, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye, Barb.
Oh,
Bye-bye, Elaine.
save the chat. I'm gonna do it right now.
Just did it.
Yes, I just did it.
Because I don't see my mouse. Oh wait, there I am. Save chat. Okay, I got it. All righty. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate being here. I was doing things in the background, but excellent presentation.
Well, good. And Stu and Nina both. It's nice to meet you. And we have a really fun happy hour too. So we're not the group that just one person talks.
No
You know
problem
what I mean?
whatsoever.
So come join us. And you know, if you have any other business owners or prospects that you're working with that are also business owners, bring them on and let me know ahead of time if you want me to say something about you guys too, because I like to do that.
Well, I look forward to catching up with you on your elite marketing. I think I'm just so glad to finally break the ice and come on one of your calls.
Well, good. Well, welcome to both of you.
Yeah, me too. I want to learn more about all of this and how to get involved and get to know everyone. This was great. This was really good.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Well, great. We'll see you guys next Thursday.
Okay, thanks again.
All righty. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Hey there, it's Mark. How are you? I'm good. What's going on? Okay.